Guys, if you are new to Toyota hybrid vehicles, or if you're planning to buy a new car with the Toyota hybrid system, well, then there are certain things that you should absolutely know, because these cars do a few things that at first may seem a bit odd to someone who's coming from a non-hybrid vehicle, but in fact are perfectly normal for a car that is equipped with the Toyota Strong Hybrid system. And I'll be demonstrating on the Suzuki Grand Vitara, which comes with Toyota's Strong Hybrid system. Let us start with the sound that you're gonna hear when you unlock and open the driver's side door. Did you hear that? It sounds like a small compressor. Well, that's because it is. That is the brake pump priming the brake system. The reason for that is, Toyota hybrids always start in the AV mode, as you can see on the instrument cluster. So the engine isn't running to pressurize the hydraulic brake system. So on these cars, that's done by an electric pump. So that's what you're gonna hear when you open the driver's side door, which is perfectly normal. Now, when you look into the engine bay of your Toyota hybrid, you're gonna notice that there are no belts. That's because on these cars, everything that used to be belt driven is now electric. That includes your water pump and the AC compressor. And speaking of the AC, there's the variable speed AC compressor down there, that thing with the high voltage sign on it. So it is electric, powered by the high voltage hybrid battery and driven by an inverter. So the best part is, you can run the AC in a Toyota hybrid and the engine isn't even gonna come on. It's gonna run completely off the main hybrid traction battery. So it's essentially using the energy that was put into the battery via regenerative braking while you were driving. And combine that with a high efficiency variable speed compressor, well, you've got a super efficient air conditioner. And you don't have to worry about the battery getting depleted because the engine is gonna come on by itself to recharge the hybrid battery, as you can see. And it's gonna shut off by itself once there is sufficient charge in it. And the car goes back into the EV mode, as you can see on the instrument cluster. So you can sit here in park with the climate control running and still get pretty decent fuel economy. Now coming back, Toyota hybrids also don't have an alternator or a starter motor. The task of starting the engine and charging the main battery is now done by something called the motor generator 1, which is always connected to the engine and it automatically starts the engine, and once the engine starts, that motor now turns into the generator which charges the hybrid battery, especially when your car is stationary, like when you're sitting with the AC running. This motor also starts the engine while you are driving, and the switch is so smooth and seamless that you won't even notice when the engine comes on while you're driving the car. There's also a bigger motor called motor generator 2 which turns the wheels and also recharges the hybrid battery through regenerative braking when you press on the brake pedal. It's a pretty efficient and a reliable system by Toyota. And just like any other car, Toyota hybrids also have a standard 12-volt battery to power all your accessories, like your infotainment system, phone chargers, lights, etc. etc. And because there is no alternator, this battery gets charged through the main high voltage hybrid battery, and that's done through a DC to DC converter which converts the high voltage coming from the hybrid battery to 14 volts that charges your 12-volt battery and powers all your accessories. Now generally these are smaller capacity batteries, and I've seen many people complain online about this battery losing charge over time. So I highly recommend that you switch your car on and put it in the ready mode if you want to sit and listen to music for more than 30 minutes at a time, because turning your car on also switches on the DC to DC converter, which keeps your 12-volt battery charged even when the engine isn't running, which is even more important if you have a subwoofer and an amplifier installed in your hybrid. Now, one thing that I've seen many people do is, they'll come to a stop on a traffic light and they'll immediately put the shifter into neutral or park. This was the norm on older automatic transmission cars, but on a modern Toyota with eCVT, there is absolutely no need to do this. you should leave your car in the D mode all the time while driving, and the computer is smart enough that it will cut the power to the electric motor when you stop at a traffic signal. So right now I've got my foot on the brake pedal and there is no power going to the motor, which you can see in the energy flow. So nothing is happening right now. The car is just waiting for me to lift my foot off the brake. So when it's time to go, I can just lift my foot off the brake and the car starts moving normally. So there is no need to shift the car out of the D mode, especially when you're waiting at a traffic light. And lastly, you want to put the shifter into the park mode only after you've parked your vehicle. And speaking of park, you're going to notice that your Toyota Hybrid rocks back and forth as you let go of the brakes when the shifter is in the park mode. Did you see that happen? Well, this is actually completely normal to Toyota hybrids because of how the parking mechanism works. And this caught me off guard the first time it happened. But yeah, this is completely normal and your vehicle isn't gonna go anywhere once it is in park. Also, one thing you should absolutely know is that the gear shifter on a Toyota hybrid is completely electronic. So unlike a normal automatic transmission car, this is not physically connected to the transmission, and same logic applies to the brake pedal and the accelerator. It is all electronic drive-by-wire system. So when you switch the gear selector, say from park to drive, it will send a signal to the car's computer that hey, the shifter is now in D mode and it's time to go. And you lift your feet off the brake and your vehicle starts to move. And it's the same logic for reverse, neutral and park. And here's a fun fact, Toyota eCVT transmission has no reverse gear. So when you put the shifter in reverse, the computer makes motor generator 2 run in reverse and your car starts rolling back. So the engine never puts power to the wheels in reverse. So a Toyota hybrid vehicle always reverses in the EV mode. So that's awesome. There's also something called the B mode or the braking mode, and this uses the engine braking in addition to regenerative braking to control the speed when you are driving down a steep hill. The car actually drives normally like it would in the D mode, but the main difference you'll notice is that the car slows down quickly when you let go of the accelerator, and it's gonna feel like brakes are being applied. This is increased regenerative braking in action. So this is going to be very useful to have more control over the speed of the vehicle when you're going down a steep hill. But for normal city driving, just keep your hybrid in the D mode. Also, many people expect the car to charge the hybrid battery to 100%. Well, here's the thing. Under normal driving conditions, the hybrid battery is never going to charge beyond 50%. And this behavior is intentional and a good thing because keeping the charge level of lithium batteries around the 50% mark is going to make the battery last a really long time. And I expect the hybrid battery to last about 10 years. So yeah, that's a good thing. The only time you might see it charge beyond 50% is while going downhill. But under normal driving conditions, the charge level is going to be around the 50% mark. And this is one of the reasons why the dedicated EV mode is almost always unavailable. There is just not enough charge in the hybrid battery for the EV mode to work. This needs at least 70% charge in the hybrid battery. And speaking of batteries, Toyota hybrids have an air-cooled battery. There's a fan that pulls cool air-conditioned air from the cabin, and the vent for the air intake is here on the right side passenger seat. So you must absolutely make sure never to cover this vent, and there is also a dust filter inside. If you see any dust, you must get the air filter changed or cleaned because this keeps the battery from overheating, and keeping those lithium cells cool is essential for the long life of the high voltage battery. When you get into your car on a cold day and you switch on the heat, you'll notice that the engine comes on even though we've got sufficient charge in the hybrid battery to pull out of the parking and start driving. Well, this is because the heater on a Toyota hybrid uses the waste heat generated by the engine to heat the cabin. That's the reason the engine is gonna come on for a few minutes when you turn the heater on. Also, during the engine warm-up process, it's also gonna charge up the hybrid battery. So it's not like you're wasting a lot of energy because most of it is going into your battery, which you can later use to drive the car. Also, here's a tip. If you don't want your windows to fog up during winters, you might want to switch the AC on along with the heat. The vents are still gonna blow warm air, but the AC will also remove the humidity, preventing your windows from fogging up, as you can see. So just a little useful tip for safe driving during winters. Toyota hybrids also have two cooling loops. The one with the green cap is for the engine, so that's the reservoir bottle for the engine coolant, and the one on the left is the cooling loop for the high voltage inverter that powers the hybrid system. So just a little technical thing that you should know, and make sure to check the coolant levels in both at regular intervals. This one seems a bit low, so might have to top this off. Toyota hybrids also make noises that are similar to an electric vehicle. Like, you'll hear the typical electric motor whine while accelerating, and also decelerating. And this is totally normal. Also, whenever your Toyota hybrid is in the EV mode, it's gonna artificially generate noise which sounds like this. This is the acoustic vehicle alert system designed to alert pedestrians around your vehicle. This is required legally and it goes away when your speed increases to beyond 20 kilometers per hour. You'll also hear clicking noise from the back when you switch your car on or off. Again, this is totally normal. That's the sound of the contactor and relays in the high voltage battery pack. Now in a Toyota hybrid, when you let go of the accelerator while driving, you're gonna feel a bit of resistance as if brakes are being applied compared to if you were driving a normal car. This is actually the regenerative braking in action, which you can see in the power flow. And pressing on the brakes is gonna increase the rate of regenerative braking. And yes, the brakes feel a bit weird, but you'll get used to it. This is what makes Toyota hybrids super efficient. All that momentum is being turned into electricity, which is being stored in the hybrid battery, which we can later use to drive the car and power all of the electrical components, including the air conditioner. So concluding thoughts, I really love this car. It's a Suzuki Grand Vitara, but underneath it's a Toyota. As you've seen, it's got a Toyota engine, and being a strong hybrid, it really shines in city stop and go traffic. And I've been getting about 26 kilometers per liter in city stop and go traffic with the air conditioner running. And that's actually really good for a car of this size. And it took about a day or so getting used to the ECVT, especially the brakes, because they do feel a bit different because of regenerative braking. But this car is really fun to drive and the instant torque from the electric motor just feels awesome. So yeah, I hope this gives you a rough idea on what to expect from a Toyota hybrid vehicle, especially if you own one or looking to buy the strong hybrid variant of the Suzuki Grand Vitara, Invicto, Victoris, or the Toyota Hyryder or Innova Hycross. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time.